I almost hit the finish button. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday night. Welcome to my Zen Den. I am so very happy that you could join me tonight. Sorry, I feel like my face was at the bottom of the camera. Hi, my name is Mandy VanHavermaet. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! From Great Eagle, Minnesota, and I am so happy that you're joining me. I just got back. I actually took last Friday off, so I'm so glad that you, if you took it and checked out my video from last Friday, thank you so much for taking a peek at it. I was at Onstage in Indianapolis with some of my very best stamping friends, some fellow demonstrators from around the area, and I met some new demonstrators, and I met somebody that I absolutely adore. It was so much fun. We laughed, we cried, we ate, we learned. It was fantastic. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for joining tonight. So thank you for tuning in tonight after I took my 1 week hiatus. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for joining. Tonight I'm going to show you just a couple of really quick cards because I am always looking for really fast cards, and these don't necessarily need any specific stamp set. They're just word stamp sets, but they're Christmas themed. You can take and switch out maybe the designer series paper. These are just really quick go-to cards for if you're in a hurry and you need a card. So I am going to flip my camera around and we are going to get stamping. Hold on 1 second. All right. And it is like winter at our house all of a sudden. We had fantastic traveling weather, which was great. We really hit like no weather at all, which was, I mean, awesome. We couldn't have asked for better. And then when we got home the next morning, there was snow on the ground. So it was perfect. So, like really and truly one of the best trips I've ever had. So the first card we're going to make, I am actually going to be using, again, the Framed and Festive stamp set. This stamp set is only available until the end of December or until it runs out. What they have is all they're going to have. So it's a very limited time. Really, I love the sentiments in the set just because they're so fun and kind of whimsical and things like that. So Framed and Festive is the stamp set I'm going to be using. Pretty basic pieces here. I've got a piece of garden green, 8.5 by 5.5, scored down the middle at 5 1/4. I've got a piece of designer series paper, and this is from the Sweetest Christmas. This is the candy cane designer series paper, so that's what the other side looks like. I just wanted the red. I cut this out with the dies from Color and Contour, and these are still on sale through tonight. If you don't have these dies, this is a really good set. I'm missing, let's see here. So in this set, there's a lot of frames, and they're all these frames. And really the only two that cut out are these two, and they cut out flowers here. But if you take those two out, look at that set of dies. It's so, so cool. I highly recommend. One of my most used sets here. So I cut this red piece out with the biggest die, and then I'm going to use this middle-sized die for a piece of basic white. If you don't have the dies, you could totally make this card just cutting rectangles. So like a regular basic panel. And then this one would be roughly, let's say, like 2.5 by 3 3/4. So you could make this card using just rectangles that you cut square. And so then I've got a piece of basic white for my stamping this, and then a piece of basic white for on the inside. So really simple card. So what I'm going to do is just to kind of get, I've really got a pretty small piece of designer series paper here. So I'm going to bring in my garden green ink pad, and these are totally classic Christmas colors, right? Garden green, real red, basic white, perfect Christmas colors. So I've got the stamp that says, "'Tis the season to be jolly." I'm going to stamp that there. And like I said, I just put my die right there just to kind of give myself a guide. So I didn't get over to one way or the other. While I've got my garden green out, I'm going to fold my card base and burnish that just so I get a nice crisp fold. And then I've got the sentiment that says fa la 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 la. And I am going to just stamp behind here randomly. And if you were a neater crafter than I am, you'd probably put some kind of piece of background on there, but you know, that's how I roll, right? Okay, so I'm done with the, let's see, I need one more stamp. I need to stamp the inside. Let's go with Merry Christmas. Just a basic, forgot that one. Just a basic while I've got my ink open here. Merry Christmas. Perfect. Okay, so and like I said, these are going to be really, really fast cards, right? So I'm going to run this through my cut and emboss machine. So let's see what I'm going to make for a sandwich here. I've got my plate number 1, plate number 2, plate number 3, just like the instructions say right there. And so I'm going to put my die on. And when you're doing a square die, if you ever notice on your cut and emboss machines, it makes like a really loud crunching sound, or it's really hard to push through. Something you might want to do is put, if especially a square die, make it go through kind of at an angle so it catches this part first. It's going to make your sandwich just a little bit easier to work with. And I'm going to use a piece of washi tape, which has an end. There we go. Just to hold that down. Just like that. And so then I'm going to put my plate number 3 on that, and I'll run it through my cut and emboss. And did you notice no crunching, no really loud noises? That's because I put that corner through first, so it grabbed it just a little bit nicer. So try that. Keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, so that pulls out. Isn't that just, I love those dies. I just love those dies. So fun. So let's get rid of that. And now I've got some ribbon, and this is it's in the small mini catalog. It is the red and green. It comes in a multi-pack or a 2-pack. I like it. It's garden green. Here again, just perfect Christmas sentiments. And you can't really see the fa la la, but it adds just a little bit to the background. If you wanted to, you could maybe make this one just a little smaller, the next size smaller, but I like it the way I've got it. So I'm gonna go with it. Adhere this down directly onto here. Uh-oh, I must have a cat misbehaving upstairs. I just heard my boy, heard one of my boys. Let's see, and I was thinking I was gonna put a bow down here, and I think I'm still gonna go with that. I was deciding, do I wanna put the ribbon behind in a zigzag, or do I wanna tie a bow? I'm gonna go with a bow. So let's pull in some dimensionals, bump that thing up. And this is a fairly big piece of paper, so make sure you use enough dimensionals that it doesn't sag down. So just like that. And then let's tie a bow. And this ribbon ties so nicely. It's a really nice light ribbon. Very malleable, which is, you know, what I really watch for. Right, look how fast that went. Oh, I love this ribbon. Perfect. And just work with it until it gets nice in the way you want it. Let's see if my paper snips are gonna cut it. They're doing okay. I find that paper snips do not cut ribbon like I like that too. I prefer using my, fabric scissors, but all right, let's adhere that down with a glue dot. Popping them off right here in the middle. And just like that. You could leave it like that. I'm going to pull in some of the seasonal adhesive back sequins. I've got some white ones in here. And this also, it looks like I'm trying to be specific to the candy cane suite. I'm not. I'm just, it coordinates well together, and you know how I feel about coordination. So I'm going to take just some of the small sequins, some of the small white sequins. Pop, there we go. I'm going to grab them. And I'm just going to put a few of them back on that red part, just to add a little bit more interest, right? And I don't like them to be perfectly even, so there we go. Awesome. So let's put our inside in, and we'll be finished with card number 1, right? You could crank out a lot of these cards, and like I said, you could use really, if you're in a hurry, any word sentiment would work great with this. Just let your paper do the work, right? All right. So there is card number 1. Super, super simple. And that is with the Framed and Festive. So let's move on to card number 2. Clear off my area here. Card number 2, I am going to be using the stamp set that is called Hope and Peace. This is more of the religious sentiments. I love it. I think that besides Christmas, this one right here, God's Blessings to You, would make a great sentiment for you know, confirmation, first communion, baptisms, anytime, God's blessings to you, thinking of you, anything like that. We are going to be using the wishing you the hope and peace of Christ this season, along with Merry Christmas on the inside. So let's get to it. I am using a piece of, my brain just quit. I can't find my ink pad. There we go. Evening Evergreen. Woo! Sometimes it's tough. A piece of Evening and Evergreen, 8.5 by 5.5, scored down the middle at 4 1/4. If you haven't figured it out, that is my go-to size. Sometimes I do the long way, but I really and truly like just basic cards when it comes to folding. All right, and then I've got a piece of Designer Series paper. This Designer Series paper is from the Season of Chic. It's from the annual catalog. It's really beautiful on the other side too. It's got gold on that side. It is not one of them that's on sale through tonight because it is a specialty paper, but it is so pretty. I love this paper. And then I've got a piece of soft succulent. This is for the inside, and I've cut it a little bit smaller, so 3.75 by 5, just a little bit smaller panel. I've got a scrap of soft succulent, and then I'm also going to be using the gold and rose gold metallic specialty paper. This is 6 by 6 sheets it comes in. It's a little different. It's kind of got a really pretty, it's got a texture to it, and I really, really like it. It comes in 6 by 6 sheets. I believe you get 3 of each of the gold and rose gold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on this, cut just little 1/8 inch strips. Because you know how I love to, I really like to conserve my golds, my metallic papers. And I like to use when I'm cutting foils and cutting metallics, I like to use a mandolin just because it doesn't dull my blade. I will use my trimmer, my Stampin' trimmer blade, the one that goes up and down. Do you know what I'm talking about? This one. I will use this one. I just change out my blade if I'm doing foils because foils will dull your blade. So keep that in mind. So I've got 2 pieces that are 6 by 1/8 of an inch. So just really narrow strips. And I'll show you what I do with those. And then I'm also going to be using the snowflakes. And these are the wonderful snowflakes, they're called. They've got a really pretty iridescent. But guess what? I don't want to show the iridescent. I'm going to flip them over. And on the back of the paper, on the back of the snowflakes, is just white, right? So if you don't want that shimmery, I feel like the shimmery iridescent kind of clashes a little bit with the gold. So I'm going to just leave it white. And these are really neat. They're in the small catalog. They come in a pack of 24. So there's 24 snowflakes in here. Really a good deal. I love them. So let's get stamping on this. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to adhere my 2-inch strip So this is 2 by 5.5. Sorry, it's just a basic strip of paper. And I'm going to adhere that right to the front of my card like that. So let's grab my adhesive. And if you have any inclination to order from, if you want to take part in the sale, the big sale that Stampin' Up! Is having, you have through tonight. The dies, I believe, are 20% off. So like those color and contour dies I used earlier, they're a great one to have. I'm going to be using the tailored tags also on this card. That's another set that are just really, really cool. Here they are. Really a neat set of standalone dies. Really nice. Work great for a lot of different projects. So, okay, so now I've got my 2-inch panel adhered down. I'm going to bring in some Tombow glue. This is my trick. So I'm going to put just a skinny little teeny tiny ever so light bead. There we go. I don't want to squeeze too hard because I didn't want a big chunk to come out. Okay, so I work on one side at a time. And this is 6 inches long, so I'm going to have overhang that I need to trim, but I do that on purpose because I don't want to have it too short. So I just leave it long and then go ahead and trim it up afterwards. So, and this really, I mean, you can get, how many 1/8 inch pieces can you get out of a 6-inch piece of cardstock, right? That's, somebody out there is doing the math right now. I'm not. Well, 8 in an inch, 48 pieces divided by 2, 24 cards like that. So there's a lot. Wow, I just did that math. You guys should be happy. It's like 8:17 at night on a Friday night, and my brain could still calculate. Yay me. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for just a second. I'm going to take my snowflake and I'm going to adhere that down, but I'm going to run my, I'm going to do my stamping first, and then we'll kind of play with it. So I've got the stamp that says, wishing you the hope and peace of Christ this season. And I've got my evening evergreen ink. So I'm just going to stamp that up, and I've got a big enough piece here. Stamp that up. Isn't that, oh, that's such a beautiful font. While I've got my, while I've got my ink out, I'm going to stamp on my inside just a basic Merry Christmas. So pretty. What a pretty font. I love it. And that is all my stamping on this card. Ridiculously simple, right? So we are going to set our sandwich up. So I've got the wishing you the hope and peace of this season, and I'm going to be using, like I said, my tailored tag dies, and I'm going to use this one right here. Hello. There. Work with me. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to set it up just like that. And this is a square die again, right? So I'm going to turn it that way when I run it through, just so it doesn't make that big crunching sound. And tape that down with my piece of washi tape. And I reuse my washi tape over and over again. I just didn't have one when I started. So we're going to run that through the cut and emboss machine. And again, you didn't hear a big crunch because I had that corner going through first. So take that apart. Just like that. So pretty. And now if you notice in the dies, there are these little ones right here. And there's on each side. So these have circles for their holes, and these have little oblong things. So before I came online, I did, on the rose gold, or on that gold specialty paper, I did a set of 3 of those. So I have one sitting here. So I'm just going to use that. I've got my Tombow glue here again. And just a touch, just a tad bit of Tombow. Just like that. And you wouldn't have to put this on, but it adds just a beautiful little touch. Isn't that just, it's pretty. It's pretty. Okay, let's trim these off now that they've been sitting here for just a second. Perfect. Isn't that just elegant? I love it. I love it, love it. Okay, so now let's make this tag extra special. I have got the open weave ribbon, and this is in Evening Evergreen. And then I've got it's Simply Elegant trim. This comes in 2 rolls. There's a silver roll and a gold roll. And it's just a pretty trim. And I thought a little more gold. A little more gold, please. So I'm going to cut just a reasonable piece of each. And there is going to be, I'm going to use my fabric scissors. They just make me happier when I'm dealing with ribbon. I'm going to cut it down the middle into 2 pieces. Oh, for Pete's sake. This is why I don't do fabric. Because I'm a paper girl. Fabric kicks my butt. Whew, that was tough, man. Okay, so I am going to thread these through my little hole. And if you can't get them all in at one time, you know I'm going to try to get them all in at one time. But if you can't get them all in at one time, there's no rule that says you have to. See, I try, and I got one that didn't go. I didn't listen quite right. It's a little wider at the end, maybe because I cut it crooked, but nobody will know. The struggle is so real. Okay, so I've got them through, and they don't need to be perfect, like the same length, because I'm going to trim it. If you wanted to add enough that you could make a knot, you could totally do that. I couldn't make my fingers work like that. So what I'm going to do is take in just another little piece of this trim. And cheat. So I'm just going to, it looks like I got a lot of pieces, but it's not bad, I promise. I'm just going to put them all together, get them to come out, and knot this up. Pull it through. There we go. Ah, I did it. Yay, I did it. Okay. So one, just a basic knot. What is that, a square knot, right? I'm not sure. You can leave it on there if you'd like. I'm actually going to trim it back just a little bit because it doesn't flow right with the rest of it. And make it just a small one. And it looks cute that way, right? Okay, so now we're going to put this on like this. And so I'm going to just trim that back. Just like that. Isn't that elegant? Oh, I love it. And that's just a kind of different way to use your ribbon. If you wanted to tie just a bow, you totally could. There's no rules, right? You can do what you want because this is your card, and I'm going to lose my little piece there. There it is. I found it. Make sure it's nice and tight before you cut it. There we go. I got it. Okay. Man alive. Okay, so I can do math, but I can't tie a ribbon. Okay, so that's how it would look. I like to put this snowflake on. And I thought about putting it on like that. In fact, on my prototype, that's exactly how I did put it on. Let's see, I had this one tilted this way. But I'm thinking, maybe I should cut my ribbon, or cut my snowflake in half. So let's do that. Because then we can put it on each side, right? So I've got one. I'm all about stretching, guys, for real. Put one there, and maybe not perfectly square, but maybe over here. Or maybe we should put this one over here. How do we want to do it? Isn't that, oh, I do like that. I do like that. I do like it on the white, on the dark too. See, here's, you guys are in my brain, in my thought process here now. Oh, I like it like that. Okay, so I am going to put a little piece of tape there because you'll never see it. And a little piece of tape there. Make sure that oh yeah, that's pretty. Okay, so tape, push those down good then. And I'm only adhering the centers, right? And then we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of our tag. And remember to use the edge of your dimensionals, right? Because there's a lot there that you don't want to throw away. Use it all up. I love these colors together. I think they're so elegant. And that Seasons of Chic season, yeah, I think it's a beautiful paper. I have not seen a bad card made with it. So that's a good one. Okay, there we go. And I'm not putting any more on there because I think the bling from the foil paper does exactly what I want it to. So let's put our inside in. Just like that. And I'm not a big one that says there's a rule that's hard and fast. It has to be white on the inside. Make it a beautiful color. Look how pretty that looks. Oh, I love it. I just love it. So that is card number 2, and that is with the Hope and Peace stamp set. But there again, you could use this layout with any kind of sentiment. So you could make this would make a beautiful birthday card, a beautiful winter birthday card, right? Love it. I absolutely love it. So there are the 2 cards that I made tonight. It's very fast Christmas cards. So I do want to tease you. I want to tease you, but I can't because I've seen the new catalog that's coming out in January. And oh my gosh, I'm going to flip the camera around here to say goodbye. The snowflakes, Kathy or Sherry, are in the current mini catalog. So the, let me grab it here, this one. And they are on page, they're on page 45. So that's where those little snowflakes are. And they're really nice, and they're flat, and they're pretty, and they're sparkly, and we love sparkle, right? So I've seen the new catalog. It's really good. You guys are going to love it. The new celebration that's coming out in January is really good, and you're going to love it. I'm super excited for it. So anyhow, that's all I have for you tonight. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope you get to do some crafting and you do something fun. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.